let's bring the contemporary dancing and how can grow it. And then they thought about finding out other contemporary dancers and those who were interested. And at first, they thought about 6, but it got nettled down, and because of schedule issues, it ended up with Anandita, Mahu, Lamia Slamela, and me. Lamia Mela. Marsha Rahman, or Mash. And we got together, and we were thinking, we had 3 months, and then in the middle of 1 month, we were all gone. So we basically had like 4 weeks to create the process, and we were thinking what to do. So this is basically a collage. We thought about isolation and what it means. And at first, we experimented, we played. Let's start with a movement. Let's start with an idea, or let's start with a theme. And everybody had a different background. Some had a Kathak background, some had a contemporary dance background, some had a jazz background. So we thought, let's get the techniques together and we'll just share and see what happens. At first, we were not thinking at all. And slowly, it started making little senses, and we kind of like it mix and matched. Now, first of all, before me explaining what it's about, what did you guys see? Anybody, like, what did you think? Is it abstract? Did anything make sense?
The movements were graceful.
Okay, so basically before questioning, just what did you see overall? Like, movement-wise, anybody? Or did any thoughts come to mind?
We're trying to connect to each other.
We're trying to connect to each other, that's a nice thought.
He was trying to bridge the boundaries.
Trying to break the boundaries, so social, cultural, and that way.
Lots of tension.
Tension, so you can feel emotions. Let me give you, like, from my perspective, the narrative. Like, everybody has their own method, what they're thinking. So I'm thinking at the start, if you think of isolation, at the start, when we're just walking, we're just neutral. We're just neutral, empty, robotic. We just got born and we're just walking. We have no personality, no identity. And then, when you're first born, like as a kid, like you want to know you exist. You have this urge to say, hey, I'm here, I'm present. So when the African music starts, it's more of like, I'm here. So it's more like, I'm here and I want to be alive. So it's more like just existing. So first you realize, okay, you exist. And then you notice the newspaper segment. And a lot of the concepts where we just talked and one person had an idea, one person had, we just combined it together. But the newspaper was basically, my thinking is when a child is born and a child grows up, what does the child first want to like learn from? When a child wants to know who he or she is, what do they look to? They look at the TV, they look at the cartoons, they look at the media, and that's where they get their identity. Okay, I should follow this. So when you're first born and you're alive, you want to be somebody, and you look for something, you look to imitate something. And so you look at the easiest thing is the media. So you go and you notice the media and you try to wrap yourself and you become like everything they tell you to do. But after a while you realize, hey, this isn't me, some things don't fit. I know this is cool, this is popular, but I feel to do something else. So slowly you feel the fakeness and the media and the cultural thing strips away. And the next part is, it was basically everybody combined a little bit of their techniques. So it's a mixture of their own backgrounds and personalities. So that's when you throw away the media and you start developing your personality. That, hey, I'm me, I like this, I want to do this. So that segment is all about yourself. You're building yourself up. Yeah.
So basically I made the whole big newspaper segment. It was not supposed to be there. But what I think is, it's not more about, like, it's not about fakeness. Of course we are, you know, we take bits and pieces from the media and that's totally fine. That's what we were trying to say. It's fine, but given everything that's been going on for the last, who knows how many decades, it is we felt that it's highly appropriate to talk about how basically we're not nothing, but we are very less stripped down. We are all that we take from the media, and it's kind of two people in the whole world. It's media and us. That's obviously a good thing. It should be. But here we were trying to explore it, more about exploring what media really meant and how this creates an isolation, and how is it all right if we not look at the media, or is it beneficial if we look at the media? Which one is the right, which one is right here? So basically that was the take on the media and the newspaper segment.
And the media also has another interesting thing is the Mahmood's character where he's reading. So basically whenever a news happens, like first an event happens, and then it's written, the media writes it, and then it's being presented to the public. So basically the thing was happening, there's an event happening, and he doesn't know about it yet. And when it's being written, he's like, wait, he's looking at the newspaper and it's not there, because the event hasn't been presented yet. And it's been taken away. So he's like confused that, hey, I need you to present the media or the news, or I'm isolated. So there's different versions. And also another thing is, as an actor, like when you get a script, the director has something in mind, but when you're performing or playing, you have your own, like, you put your own meaning to it. So everything I'm saying is just my meaning. She will have like her own interpretation, everybody else. So this is not the Bible, it's just my interpretation of it. So going forward from the media and the personality, the phrases, after that it was the solo segments. So it was Mahmood walking. So those are, since you're building yourself, it's more about, okay, everybody is finding out what they like and they're doing it. And they're finding themselves out. So it's almost like college. You go to college and you mix with all these people, and there's all these wonderful experiences. And then after a while, you think you're friends with them forever and everyone's together, and suddenly like after like 4 or 5 years, one person, like everybody graduates, one person gets married, one person gets out of state, out of the country, and slowly they drift apart. And after a while you realize that everything's kind of just gone and nothing's there, it's empty. And you realize, okay, so what was that all about? I did all that, and would I have done it again knowing that it would be an empty conclusion, or would I know it knowing that, okay, it's still going to be zero afterwards? So it's like everybody's building all that, and suddenly from Anandika's phrase, she realizes that, hey, this doesn't, like, what am I doing? This doesn't, like, at the end, it doesn't mean anything. It's going to fade away anyway. So she starts, like, that's when, before everybody was just dancing, and after that everybody started dancing with, like, why am I doing this? What's the purpose? Like, is it worth it? So she started thinking about it. She's asking the audience, and then everyone's like, okay, what am I doing? And the next segment was, it was choreographed by Mahmood, and his thought process was, he named it the river, and he said, look at nature, like look at the world and nature, and you see all these rivers and waters, and they start from a spring and like bubbling, and then they just come together, and they mingle and match, and then there's monsoon, more water, and then slowly they kind of drift apart, and they go somewhere else, and then they meet somewhere else again, and then they drift apart again, and it's just a way of nature, that you come, you meet people, and then you have to go somewhere else, everything breaks away, you start fresh again, and it's just the journey. So that was more about the worldview and elemental view of how we as a human being just start from something, we get together, we separate, and meet sometimes again. It's just nature. And the last segment is just being nostalgic about it, that everything has been done, and we're left with nothing. Everything's gone, like everything's faded away. We're left with the memories, and you just look back and you're like, that was good, that was nice, and that's worth it or not? And you're like, you feel good about it, you feel sad about it, you feel happy about it, but just reflect on it, and you end the same way you begin, just empty, but with that whole journey. So that's my meaning of it. They have different versions. Everybody has different versions, so yeah.
We want to ask any questions, any thoughts, anything from you guys. Good, bad, confused, anything.
Totally give the new perspective, the new way of thinking. Sometimes as you started with the question, attacking to the loneliness, what's your meaning of loneliness? To me is that being in a crowd, when I can't communicate with others in the same way, then that's the loneliness. Loneliness not always being alone, but being in the system. That you perfectly brought to your different way of movements and performance.
So to add to that, on the last segment, if you notice that everybody was doing something, and then Mahmood tried to come into the group, and everyone's like, everyone steps aside, and he tries to come again, and everyone's like,
Exactly.
So isolation, there's different forms of isolation. There's one is like, okay, I'm totally isolated, I don't know you, we're separate. Another is, you're within everybody and you can't communicate, you can't be part of something. Like you're part of the whole group, but you're still isolated. So isolation has different meanings, and we try to explore everything. I talk a lot, sorry.
Someone has to talk. Anamita, do you want to? Do you want to add anything?
I'm very bad at talking. So in my segment when I was running, I was literally searching the answer. What is loneliness? Like I was full of people, like I have friends, I have family, the whole people, but though I was alone, why I can't communicate with anyone? That was like, I was just running, searching the answer. That's why I went to the audience to listen their thing. So that's the thing. In the end, like we don't have the answer. We still don't know what is loneliness.
Have you noticed that in the piece, everybody talks except Mahbub? He's like the dancer, he's like, so Mahbub, you want to say something?
Hello everyone.
That's fine. If you guys don't ask questions, I'll ask questions. Should I ask questions?
Yeah.
Anyone? Okay. You in the blue shirt, Shabna. Yes, I know your name. Did you watch the whole piece or did you walk
I
in?
walked in a little late.
Little late. So could you tell me which part you came in?
The part where you were sort of controlling the rest of them with the motion.
Okay. So the word isolation, what is the meaning for that for you?
Isolation to me would regard as being away from everyone else, being contained to yourself. That's it.
Anything else?
That's it.
Hello. So my question to you is, at the end of the piece, what was the first word that popped in your head?
It was beautifully composed. It was put together really nice, and the ending, I think we all were anticipating something more because we did not see the ending. We just wanted more of it. It was just beautifully put together.
And by more, do you mean like more dance or more message or the length?
I think we kind of got lost in the whole show, so we did not know how long it was or how. We just wanted more of it. The length, of course, was. I think it was good. I'm not pretty sure because I walked in a little late. But other than that, I just wanted more of it. More dancing because it was very fluid, and then when it needed to be strong, it was strong, and there were shy parts. So the whole thing was put together really nice. So.
Thank you. Yes.
Why was everyone so angry all the time?
Good question.
I mean, there are aspects of isolation that's kind of good. It's like isolation sometimes peaceful. Isolation just.
I have one, just not question, I want to answer, or just something. What I want to say is, when you are at home, looking at your phone, whatever, right? What's your face? Is it neutral or are you like, I'm happy?
Passive.
It's a bit, and that's normal. Like our face was not built to always rise up, and I think that's what we sometimes mistake for theater and dance performance. We always kind of feel like we have to have the face somehow engaged with our body, and that's great. That's what we do in classical dance anyway. But maybe we wanted that out, and the body movement that we were doing, it was really the natural expression we had. Believe that was basically the natural discipline that we had throughout every rehearsal. Like we rehearsed for about a month or so here and there. So we did not pay attention to our face at all. And because it was 4 choreographies joined together, it wasn't one. No one was just choreographed. So we all were so put together in, investing our energy into choreography. Also, we wanted to engage our face, but we were like, no, whatever is natural is natural. And that's experimental, and that's how I think we should perceive contemporary dance. That's my take.
Yeah, well, so actually I think when it started we kind of had a little bit of technical lighting difficulties. I think we were like, oh, why is the light not coming on? So that's the first thing we faced. It was like, all this work and like light's not coming on. And also to add to a little bit of method acting, remember your segment there, the newspaper was there, a wall, and one's like, hey, is anyone there, anyone listening? So you still have to act and method act. So my method acting was, when you're in the car, you're sitting, waiting in the traffic jam for hours and 1 hour, and it's like never on. And then suddenly this beggar comes and starts knocking like, and you're like, that person's there, and you're like, doesn't exist. No, and they're like knocking, slapping, slobbering, and you're like, no. And the more, and they notice, and they're like, oh, they increase it, they stay there, and traffic jam is like there for an hour. So, the minute. So you're like, you start getting uncomfortable, and that's another form of isolation. You're like, they exist, but you're like isolating them. So that's another meaning. I'm sorry. I see every man on mic, and I'm like, can't let go.
So, another question.
Pixel. Meeny, miny.
The one on the phone. So my question to you is, you asked questions.
Yes, you would.
This is like final exam.
Yeah, you mark. So you saw the piece, and what was the feeling you got? Like, if you could describe an emotion. From the performance, did you feel any emotion? Happy, sad, angry, confused?
It was intense, I guess.
Intense.
It was very intense.